just a reminder, if you haven't already entered, go to my August 23rd, I think it is video, my weigh-in video from that day, and enter to win. Just put enter me in the comments and make sure you're a subscriber and you can win. Details are in that video. Hey guys, happy Wednesday. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about the body positivity movement, but I'm not going to call it that. I'm going to call it what they call it, which is health at every size. Listen, as someone who was 458 pounds when I started this journey and has now lost over 100 pounds, I find the way this is being represented is very toxic. I worry about people who are younger that think that this is absolutely true, because so many people want this reinforcement of their beliefs and their thoughts, and everything they think has to be right. And we just have this really weird entitled environment right now in our lives. And it bothers me because these people don't understand that maybe right now they're okay, but in a year that can all change. And I'm speaking from experience. When we moved to Alabama in 2015, keep in mind it's 2019, I didn't have back pain really, except for every once in a while, because I do have a back injury due to my labor and having issues with epidural. So I have nerve damage in my back, and I've always had some sort of back issues. But the back pain was here and there, and it was only when I did certain things or overdid things. But I was doing everything all the time, on my feet all the time. Up until 2017, I was fine. I was walking around, I was exercising, I was doing all these things, and everything was great. And then I started working at a job, and I started having issues walking regularly. Like, there were days when my back would start hurting from walking as much as I was, which, keep in mind, okay, let me just put this out to you. Because at that point, I didn't know there was a medication that could help regulate my body so that what normal people do to lose weight would work for me. I was not taking anything, and I was walking from one end of a large hospital to the other and back 10, 12 times a day, minimum. I was walking a lot, and I still lost nothing. I wasn't eating junk food. I was, overall, I was super healthy. I was bringing my lunches. I was not losing weight. And this is because of my PCOS, because I didn't know there was medication out there, because my doctors never shared that with me until I got a new doctor who is amazing. And now that there's a medication that helps regulate my system, it has allowed me to do workouts, eat right, and lose weight. But I started getting pain then. My pain got worse. And then when we started doing foster care, I was chasing after a couple of kids, and we were having a good time, and everything was great. But within that year, my health and my ability to be mobile drastically decreased. When my daughter talked about going to China, we had discussed me going with her, and I was excited to go stay in China for a while and experience the culture and see things. And I was going to go to Cambodia, and I was going to go to all these different places, and I was going to take like a year and just go to Asia with my daughter and get her settled and then see what happened from there. Well, shortly before, over that summer, which was towards the end of us doing foster care, my back pain and my mobility went downhill fast. It went down so fast. And when it got time getting closer to going with my daughter, I realistically had to say, I went through getting the physical and everything I needed to get my visa to be able to go with her. And that was in September, and that's when I realized that I weighed 427 pounds at that point. That was when I realized that, there's some accommodation issues here, But China was a way more accommodation issue because people walk everywhere and my mobility was decreasing fast. And so I made the decision that instead of being an embarrassment to my daughter, I would stay home. And I gave up on that dream of seeing Asia for a couple months. And it broke my heart because I really wanted to go see Asia. I wanted to go to Korea. I wanted to go to Vietnam. I wanted to go to Cambodia. I wanted to go to all of these places. And I gave up on it because I realized that there was no way in my current condition that I would be anything but a burden. And that is the last thing on this planet that I want to be. But I went from somebody who was absolutely fine, absolutely mobile, somebody who never got sick, barely ever caught a cold, was catching a cold every other week, if not more often. I'd get over one illness and catch another. I'd go from having gastric to something to cold to having like the flu to having a fever with no known source. Like I was getting sick all the time. And I made the decision that something had to give and I was going to have to stay here and figure something out. Well, of course, my son had already moved to Colorado. My daughter was moving to China. Part of the reason why my son moved to Colorado was because I was going to be leaving. And the plan was for my husband to sell our house, sell pretty much everything we owned except for whatever he would need in an apartment until I came back in a few months. And then we would kind of, work on being debt free and all this other stuff. We had this whole great plan because our plan was eventually to move to Cambodia and try and help people there by teaching them English and teaching them different skills and stuff like that. And I had to give up on everything. And when that happened, I went into this depression that was so deep, so dark. And I didn't know who I was because I'd always just been a mom. And my kids had always been first. I never researched the conditions I had to see if there's anything that could be done because it wasn't the important thing. The important thing was raising my kids, making sure my kids had everything they needed, even as adults, and everything else. And I literally went to this place where we didn't eat unless my husband cooked. We didn't get groceries unless I ordered them online and my husband picked them up. I left the house once in 4 months because it was so painful for me to move. I was so afraid of going out in public and catching another disease, or not disease, but, illness. Because every time I would go somewhere, I'd come home and within a day or two, I'd be sick. I became housebound. I was miserable. I literally at times thought about just walking out of the house somewhere, going and finding a place, far away per se, and just staying there and just disappearing and not being a burden on anybody. I didn't want anyone to know where I was going to go. I wanted to be by myself because at least then they could move on. I didn't want to die. I just didn't want to be a burden to anyone else. And it was in December, those thoughts were really going through my head that maybe I should just start the new year somewhere else. And, other people could be homeless. Why can't I? Yeah, great thought process. And well, you know what? Suddenly I realized that, I have 2 wonderful children that I've raised. And I someday will have grandchildren. And because I didn't know one of my grandmothers, and because my other grandmother I lived with, so she was more like a mother to me. So never really having like a grandmother figure in my life, I thought I want to break that cycle of my grandkids to have a grandmother. And I just kind of decided that I had to do something. But I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to start. And I was super depressed. I was so depressed. And I don't like psych meds. I have Xanax for my anxiety PTSD. But I literally get one prescription a year and I make it last the whole year. So I have to have a really bad panic attack to take it. And I really just didn't want to get put on medication. So I decided that I was going to push through it. And I was going to do this for me, for no one else but myself, because I did not love myself. I didn't like myself. I realized that my body was done with how my life was. That my body was no longer going to operate the way it should because it couldn't anymore. So when I hear people say things like, it's okay to be 500 pounds and you can be healthy at 500 pounds, my first thought is, for how long? How long before something like a fatty liver causes you an issue? How long before you get diagnosed with some sort of autoimmune disease because of your weight? How long before you get diabetes and you haven't taken injections of insulin, or every couple hours test your blood, or how long before your lifestyle is permanently changed because you thought 500 pounds or 400 pounds was healthy because someone told you it was? And I think when you have people who are uneducated, there was a time when in school we were taught things like how to cook, how to exercise, things like that. And they've stopped all of that. So you have a whole generations of people who came up behind me who don't understand how important it is to eat and work out and make the two work together for you. Can you have healthy habits as you're overweight? Yes. But those healthy habits should also result in you losing weight. And you guys may not agree with me. This may be like a total, like, I can't believe you just said that. This could be super controversial, and I just can't care right now because there's too many people out there in this world right now who think that because today they can walk, that everything's cool. I have avoided so many situations in the last couple of years as my mobility was going down. I have given up on opportunities to do things. I have ignored invitations to do things. I have specifically not gone on like women's retreats with churches and stuff because I was afraid I wouldn't fit in the chairs. So my life quality went down before my mobility did, because my mobility was tenuous, but it wasn't horrible. I could still get around. But because of the fear of not fitting into a chair or not being able to have no pain that day, I stopped doing a lot of things. So my whole purpose in this is just to put this out there that if you don't know my story, if you just happened upon this video, or if you're a newer subscriber, I need you to understand that everything I talk about on these videos is me. And this video was actually hard to make, to admit how far I had gone down before I decided to stand up and take ownership of my life and my choices, and to do research on how to work around my disorders that I have, how to have a more happy life. I'm still not a big social person, but that's through my anxiety, and that will probably never go away. So I pick and choose which situations I want to be in. And sometimes that makes other people confused, and it's whatever. If they're confused, they can ask me. I'll be happy to tell them. But yeah, I still have well more than another 100 and some pounds to go, at least 150. Probably close to 170, 180 pounds remaining to lose. And I'm going to lose them because I want my life back completely. I don't want it back sort of. Yes, I am walking around without using my scooter now, and that's great. But I want more. I want to not worry about my butt in a seat at a concert. I want to not worry about my butt in a seat in a plane. I want to not worry about so many things that I don't even normally think of until the situation arises. And then I stand there and weigh whether or not it's worth it. Still, I still do that. I don't want to do that anymore. So if you're someone who has been listening to this Health at Any Size, understand body positivity is a thing that we all should have. Whether you are 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 300 pounds, 500 pounds, you should still be positive about yourself. Because for every negative thought you think about yourself, you actually cause stress on your body that slows down your metabolism, slows down your digestion, which then causes you to absorb more fats and things like that that your body normally would have flushed out of your system because your body is meant to do that. And it also can cause stress causes issues with your heart, your other organs. Like every time you think a negative thought of yourself from now forward, I want you to stop yourself and say 3 things about yourself you like. And if you don't know of anything, on a day when you're feeling really good, make a list of them and then just pick 3 things off of your list. Because it is way more important that you think positively about yourself if you want to succeed at anything. Because that's what I do. That's what I started doing in January, was every time I have a bad thought, think of 3 good things. I'm a great mom. Not perfect. Nobody's ever perfect. If you have a perfect mother, they're lying to you. But I'm a great mom. I used to be a good wife, and I'm getting there again. I have a wonderful husband. He's very supportive. Um, do we have our moments? Every marriage does, but I have a wonderful husband. I have wonderful children. My children love me. There's a list of things. None of them physical. Because you know what? The negative things I see about myself are all physical. So being able to say I'm a hard worker, I am a trustworthy friend, I love people no matter what they look like, what they, as long as you're nice to me, I am going to adore you. These are qualities of myself that I like, and things about my life that I like. So it's been very helpful for me to have counter arguments already ready for when my head tells me I can't, or I won't, or I'm not worth it. But saying you're healthy at 500 pounds or 458 pounds, it's just not a thing. You might be living normally, but you're not healthy. And I think the movement needs to just change to be called body positivity. And positivity should support someone where they're at right now, but also their desire to change. So anyhow, that's it. That's my rant. I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. I will see you guys tomorrow with the weigh-in, and we will see how this week went. Because I was down for the count for a few days and not moving around at all, I don't know. But we'll see. Bye, guys.